Filming outdoors in natural light is of course my favorite choice because it's plentiful, it's free, and now we know how to shape and control it a bit. We can be somewhat in control of what the end effect is going to be from the sun. However, what happens when you need to film indoors? Of course, there's rarely enough light indoors unless you're near a window location. So if you are forced to film inside somewhere, you've got an interior scene to light, what are you going to do? Well, the worst thing you can do is use the interior lights in the roof of an office or a home because they give very directional downward facing light, which means we get those awful shadows under our eyes again. Now, just to help you get a bit of a deeper understanding as to how multiple lights can work together to give you a beautiful illumination within a set like we have here, I'm going to break this particular setting down light by light. So we're going to start this set with just one light and then build it up to 2, 3 and 4 lights. I'm going to explain to you what each of those does along the way. Starting over here on the right, we have what we call our key light, which is our main light source for illuminating me. So if we say that this is set to 100%, then over to the left here, we have what's called our fill light, and our fill light is set to 50% capacity of this light over here. So this is the main source of light. This is a fill light which kicks in 50% on the shadow side of my face that would be generated by this particular light. Then behind me, you may or may not be able to see, if I just temporarily duck out of the way, you should be able to see a light behind me there. Now that is called a backlight, or sometimes it's also known as a hair light. So what it essentially does is there to fringe your hair and help kind of give it a little bit more interest, a bit more dynamic depth to the scene. So I said there's 4 main sources of light. The first one here is our key light, the second one is our fill light, the third one is our backlight or our hair light, and the fourth source of lighting is all those little coloured lights you see on the wall in the background. Okay, so we've got a series of little RGB colour lights that are just kicking up a little bit of light wash on the wall just to help build a bit of interest. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to turn off a couple of the lights one by one. So we break it down to nothing and then we'll start building it back up again. Now the first light I'm going to turn back on is our key light off on the right here, which is going to give us 100% of our main light. Here we go. I'll turn the key light back on now. So what we have now is a 1-point lighting setup. We have one key light only providing 100% of our lighting on this particular set. It should probably look fairly moody. I'm only lit from the side here, so I'll have a lot of shadow going on one side of my face as well. This is good for when you're sort of building drama with interview dialogue. Often when you see people sort of interviewed for current affairs shows and stuff like that, they do this real sort of moody side lighting. But it's not terribly flattering on most people, particularly me. So what we're going to do to help me out here is we're going to go from a 1-point lighting setup to a 2-point lighting setup. So we have our key light here on the right, and I'm going to turn on the fill light on the left, which is set to 50% power of this light over here. Here we go. So that's what this particular room looks like with just 2 lights, 2-point lighting setup. So we have our key light over here that's set to 100% of our light. We have our fill light over here on the left, which is set to 50% strength of this light. And then the next light I will turn on is the backlight or the hair light. And with this one, you'll be able to see how that illuminates my hairline. So if you have a look at this particular set now, I look reasonably well illuminated, but there's not much depth within the scene. Once I turn this one on, we'll start introducing like a 3D depth to this lightscape. Check this out. Okay, well now we have a 3-point lighting setup. Now we have our main key light over here, we have our fill light, and then we have a backlight or the hair light, which gives that 3D depth to my hairline. Interestingly enough, the light at the back there is also set to the same strength as our fill light. So this is at 50% power, this fill light is at 50% power, and our main light here is at 100% power. So 100, 50, and 50, and this is what it looks like. Okay, now to finish our lighting set build up, I'm going to turn on the 4th point of lighting, which is those little RGB color lights we had on the background before and the screens, and you'll see how that builds out a real kind of colorful dynamic sort of depth to the set because we start introducing light at a number of different points within this room. So check out what this looks like. This will finish the lighting setup and return us back to where we started. Well, there you go, that's our 4-point lighting setup demonstrated for you, broken down and built back up again. It adds color, depth and dimension by using those 4 layers of light in an interesting way. So once we want to control light in a situation, we need to use some powered rechargeable lighting that we can slip in our pocket and carry around with us. And these lights are designed to be mounted on your camera. So you can put these above where your lens is on your phone and get that beautiful forward facing light that's nice, even wash of light that helps render a scene and a person really, really well. So the lights I'm going to show you are not big, scary, expensive lights that cost thousands and thousands of dollars. I'm going to show you the stuff that you can afford, that you can recharge, and you can easily slip into a bag and pull out whenever you need to. Have a look at these.